Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms chats. And I've been going live to share with families the stuff they need to know to keep their kids learning, during the pandemic and beyond. And one of my favorite things I've been doing is getting to talk to leaders and founders of amazing charter schools here in San Antonio that do really unique things. Today, we're featuring Henry Ford Academy, the Alameda School for Art and Design. And we're talking with Jessica Rae Sanchez, who is the superintendent principal at Henry Ford Academy. And she's been there since the beginning in different roles. And she has a really interesting background, kind of moving back and forth between the education world and the nonprofit world, but with, really deep commitment to equity and Latinx culture. And just I've known Jessica kind of off and on, like as a mom and as a charter mom, and and so it's just like I feel like this is like the culmination of just like being in the community together, and then now I get to feature your work and what's happening at Henry Ford Academy here on Charter Moms Chat. So thank you for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. And absolutely, we've been in the same world. Our kids go to the same school, the same charter school. So it's always nice to see you. So this is wonderful for me to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I miss getting to bump into you in the parking lot.
I know. You were my go-to person of Inga, I need a shirt because it's school spirit day tomorrow. So meet me at 7 a.m. to pick up a shirt. And you've always been there, and I always really appreciate it. Really,
as we speak, there's a big box of shirts on my porch right now.
And I probably actually do need a shirt. So I will hit you up later. Yes, for sure. That is so funny.
Really funny, yeah.
It's been great. Your commitment to charter schools and just education in general has been really wonderful to see throughout these years. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. So Henry Ford Academy, it's been around for years. It's one of the earlier, opened in 2009. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We opened in 2009. I tell people what's so great about the school is I got hired to be the project manager. So I was going to help start the school. And I tell the kids all the time, I was supposed to leave after a year. Let me set up the school and then I'm going to go and be a forensic anthropologist, which I've always wanted to do, correct? And so, but I absolutely fell in love with the kids and the mission and the creativity. And it was such a new and unique environment to be in. That I have literally stayed all this time. And even if I take a break for a little bit, I always come back because it really does feel like home to me. So I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, I think, okay, so there's some aspects of that, as I've, kind of been researching it. So the Henry Ford name comes through the Henry Ford Learning Institute, right, which is based out of Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it took its start and really came out of a lot of the work that was happening in and around the Henry Ford Museum based out of Detroit and Dearborn, Michigan. And this idea of just kind of innovative thinking and how do we have an innovative museum, but how can we attach it to education? How do we talk about our history, good and bad? And how do we, and get kids engaged in that conversation? And so it really did stem from a lot of work that was being done in Michigan.
Yeah, and remember with the last time we spoke, you talked about what makes Henry Ford Academy stand out from other schools in the San Antonio area, and it's you said that art and design is what you hang your hat on, but it really influences everything in the curriculum as far as what projects the kids do, and art affects all the subjects. So I think you can explain more about that.
Yeah, it absolutely affects all the subjects. It is something that I think what we hang our hat on is absolutely right. We're an art and design school. I think beyond that, I think we're a school made up of creatives, artists, both students and faculty and staff. I think we all have this kind of spirit that lends us to be really open and creative and thinkers. And I think we like to see that infused throughout all the subjects. We don't want it to just be in your ceramics class, right? We want to be able to see it and also in a math class or a history class. We want that same creativity. We want that same alternate thinking of how to view education, right? It's absolutely, we have to learn the basics and we have to learn, everything that the state of Texas says we need to learn, which is all good stuff. But how do we infuse that and push it deeper and make it done in a creative way?
Yeah. But I think one thing you and I have talked about before is that there's all these misconceptions about charter schools and who's allowed, who's not allowed. And I think one of the things I really hope people take away from this conversation is like how open and welcoming Henry Ford Academy is in multiple ways, right? Like what the criteria are for students to enroll, but also just the love and acceptance that the students receive when they're there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right. There is a misconception, right, that kids have to qualify to get in, or they have to turn something in order for us to, review it, a portfolio for us to review and say, oh, okay, this kid's, good enough to go here, right? And I think that for our charter school and for many charter schools throughout Texas, it really is, if you were a resident in this area, right, in this geographical area, and I think we touch about 10 different school districts here in Texas and in San Antonio, I think that is the criteria, right? It's great because I think it allows kids that maybe weren't artistic, but were looking maybe for a smaller school. They were looking for kind of a little bit more individualized attention, maybe really branch out and find their art medium that they wouldn't have thought of before. And so I think it's always great that we don't have those restrictions and those requirements to get here. If you want to find yourself at a school that just maybe thinks a little bit more creatively and different, we may be a good fit for you. Or maybe a good fit for your kiddo.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that actually, no, it's true. I think, especially when it comes to high school, students should definitely have a role in, helping, like being on the journey of researching what schools are like and speaking up. Yeah.
100%. And we find so many of our kids are the ones that find us, right? So for a lot of our kids, they're finding out from their friends, or they're seeing it on Instagram, or they're seeing it on Facebook, or they see some of our artwork. And so they're the ones that push their parents to say, hey, come take a tour. I know it's not easy to take tours now, but we would say, come take a tour. And I remember distinctly, it's always been really nice to walk around with parents and them to say, I wish I had a school like this when I was in high school. And I always think that that's really fun because that really lets me know that they're listening to their kiddo. They're letting their kid, and at high school in particular, my view, you have to give kids some ability to make that decision to find the right fit for them. And it's really, I think our job as parents is to steer them on an educational journey, but they have to take the reins at some point. And high school is a really good time that you want them to take it because you want that to carry them into their college years.
Yeah, yeah, and that's part of and this goes back to sort of the design thinking and like what's innovative about the sort of the Henry Ford Academy model is having students they like creativity should be part of everything that they do.
Yeah,
and finding their voice.
Absolutely, finding their voice, being creative, all those things are things that we really want to push here. And again, it's not that we want it to just follow and then die off in their senior year, right? It's not just like, here's the diploma and it ends. Whether they go into the military or to a college or into the workforce, we want to see that experience and those ideas be brought forth into lots of other things.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering if you could talk more about the curriculum at Henry Ford Academy. Like you said, it's a public school. You follow the TEKS. They cover all the required subjects. But like the teachers, like they're also like working artists, and they're plugged into the local arts community. And the school is located downtown, so in some ways, it's not a typical school.
It is. It's not. So our motto from the very beginning has been public schools and public spaces. So we, of course, were at the Alameda Theater for a number of years. Again, public school, public space in the Casa de Mexico building. As that's being renovated and TPR is being moved in, we did have to shift out. We were absolutely thrilled to find a home at UTSA downtown, which has been so awesome to have kids on a college campus, to have kids in a public space, and they see interactions, they see working and living adults. And what's so great about having our kids on this college campus is that I feel like a lot of it is that we have the same opinion and view when it comes to our teachers, right? So our art teachers are working artists. Our other teachers are working, they maybe have side hustles. They're doing, making t-shirts, they're doing ceramics, they're doing whatever it is they're doing. I think it really lends itself for kids to know that we can have careers. And sometimes those careers are really great, and that's exactly what you wanted and you don't need anything else. And I think that there's other times that we can show our kids that, sometimes you have to do a little side hustle, or sometimes you want to do a side hustle. You want to be a working artist and you want to find yourself in multiple mediums. And I think it's really lovely that we offer that and our kids can see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was wondering if you could tell me more about so, being at the UTSA downtown campus, it still keeps you in downtown and in the center of things. And I know this past year has not been typical because, but, there's other benefits to having that partnership with UTSA. And so there's a dual enrollment program, right? Where students can start to get college credit.
Yeah, which has been really amazing and continues to expand. So we just moved onto the campus probably about a year ago, of course, and when all this started to happen. But we quickly got really talking with UTSA leadership about how do we work and strengthen and build on this partnership. And one of the ways that they came back was the dual credit program, which allows really kids in their high school to be able to get college credit classes. I think that is so important for our kids. They can have access to students that maybe are advanced and they're like, let me push it forward. Let me do a little bit more. Let me try my hand at stuff. And we get students that are really excited to do these things with UTSA. And I think it's really awesome. We're excited. We have just a couple of kids that have taken the experience and have wanted to do with it, but that's certainly growing along with the list of classes that kids can participate in.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I think that, it's something like my oldest is 13 and we're very mindful about like ways to expand his horizons, ways to help him build independence, and having access to a college campus that's fantastic. And I'm sure it's gonna be wonderful when y'all get to move back into the Alameda Theater building because what an amazing historic place, and there's just so much happening on Houston Street, right? With like the St. Credit Creek Culture Park getting refurbished, right? Texas Public Radio is there, and they're going to be able to have events, and the theater will have events, and it's just going to be amazing.
It is really beautiful. And in some of the early conversations that we had with TPR, it was like, hey, they could come in and do an internship about having their own radio show, or, how do we do commercials, or how do we do fundraising, or, so I think a lot of those conversations that have already started has been really exciting. And our kids, when we were on Houston Street, absolutely loved it. The access to be able to walk down the street, as cheesy as it is, go to Starbucks and, and meet up after school. And, certainly they're missing that now. But I think UTSA still lends itself to being in a really great space, and that same kind of feeling of where we're walking around and doing all these really great opportunities to interact with community.
Yeah. Well, like the students are, when they're on campus, they're taking their classes, they're creating art, they're interfacing with the faculty and the teachers who are also working artists. What are some of the things that students do after they graduate from Henry Ford Academy? Like so some of them are artists, but some of them take that design thinking and apply it to other fields, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, kids that have gone on to some of the top art schools here in the country, like SCAD and some of the other schools, Pratt. I think what we are excited is that we actually really do have a range of kids. So we have kids that go on to be absolute working artists. We have kids that are interior designers. We have kids that are teachers, English teachers. We have kids that are doing a whole range of things. Some have joined the military. So I think that we have been able to produce a good number of kids that really are the spectrum. And I think that's really indicative of what it looks like for everybody. We have kids that have done all sorts of things. I think what my hope is, and what our hope continues to be, is that when they leave us, they're leaving with a fresh set of eyes, or maybe an eye-opening of justice, of equity, of being open-minded, of viewing things creatively, of being, really thinkers and, questioning about how things are done, looking at design and figuring out how those are made. So I think we've been able to really produce some great kiddos. And I have no doubt that they'll continue to really excel in all these various areas that they're coming through. But I think at the end of the day, we want them to really be creative kiddos that are going to push the envelope and are really going to set the stage and really help continue to build our humanity, right, as they continue to get older.
Yeah, I know, like for myself, that was kind of one of the things we did over spring break. Was my kids and I went to go seek out public art around San Antonio, because it was, we just wanted to change things up. And there's, we're all under so much pressure from the pandemic, but we really can't live without art.
Thank you for saying that. So I am very fortunate enough to sit on the public art board for the city of San Antonio, and I'm an arts commissioner for San Antonio. And I think one of the things that I absolutely love about public art is its accessibility, of saying it's not, it's not in between any walls. It's, you can go out and see it. And really in San Antonio, we're doing some really creative things and bringing in a lot of really great art, and it being created here by locals. And we have some international people, and yes, we have some people from all over the country, but I always feel like it's such an incredible opportunity to be able to show the kids the good work that we have up and around the city. And there's a lot of it, and it continues to grow, which is really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I
so
think,
as a public art commissioner, I am so happy that you did that over spring break, because I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. But it's part of, I mean, we're in this place of like the world kind of starting to reopen, and it's time to challenge ourselves about a vision of what we want the world to be. And, you talked about, the importance of equity and inclusiveness, and, but also, that art and design thinking should be part of everyone's career path in some way, right?
Yeah,
and that these are widely applicable set of skills.
Yeah. And it never ends, right? The learning never ends. I told that to the kids. I was, when I first came here, I also looked at what is my medium. I had never stopped to contemplate that for myself. Like, what am I good at? Well, I love to write, and my Thea taught me how to crochet, so I know how to do that. But, when I look at other things, so I took this as an opportunity to also expand my own learning, right? So I went to Southwest School of Art and said, what classes can I take? And I ended up on ceramics and loved it, and thought, oh my God, maybe this is my medium, right? So, but it's giving kids that access, or that ability to explore, right? That's what we want them to do. We don't expect every kid to be an incredible artist the second they walk in the doors. We want them to really search and question, what do I want to learn? I mean, I don't think we're asked that often enough, right? And I think that question should always be asked of ourselves.
Yeah. I think, and you guys are kind of pushing on the definition of what is an artist, because like everybody has creativity that they can tap into, and even if it's just their side hustle, and even if they say, oh no, I can't draw, it's like, well, but here's a lump of clay, you can do something with this, right? Or digital art, right? It's a different set of skills.
And it is, and it's really expanded, right? So it used to be, I think when we first started, it was like we were super heavy on the kind of the classics, the charcoals and the beautiful paintings, and they were incredible. And, I think as we continue to go on and our kids start to question, who am I? Or does this work for me? Or do I like this art medium? I think we have seen ourselves expand even then to more digital art, and to theater, and to, graphics, and movies on computers, especially in COVID times. I think we've really challenged ourselves with, how do you continue to do art in the middle of a pandemic and still make it really great? And it's really worked. We just got our VASE results back. I think we did 17 submissions. Everybody medaled, and we have a kiddo going to state. In the middle of a pandemic, that's a win for us. You know what I mean? Like, that's exciting. Kids weren't in school. They were doing all this online, and they were still able to get some really great results, and we couldn't be happier.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Well, you mentioned earlier about the importance of giving students the opportunity to find their medium, right? And it's like at Henry Ford Academy, they're able to experiment, and like they're invited to explore their creativity, but they don't have to like be already committed. Oh, well, I love drawing, so all I'm going to do is drawing.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. If you need to take 5 art classes to figure out what your medium is, that's fine. That's what it's for, right? That's what we're supposed to do. And there are kids that stepped foot in Mr. Gonzalez's art class and started taking ceramics, because we offer a ceramics class, and they were absolutely incredible, like mind-blowingly incredible. And you think, okay, that kid's got it, and then you have other kids that are like, I hated that and I want to try something else. And that's great, right? Like, that's perfect. That's what you want. You want kids to be excited about something, and if it gets excited about art and the different things they can try to make or create, I think that's amazing. Our job is to do that.
Yeah. And I hope that of the folks listening to this, some of you are about like me, like I have an 8th grader, so we're thinking about high school, and I'm listening to my son about what he cares most about. And but I think even those of us who like don't have like a high school age kid, we could be asking ourselves like, okay, in my life, what do I need to be experimenting with? How do I need to be stretching myself? And in some ways, the pandemic like put all these walls around what we couldn't do, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's time to like, with respect for public health, like push the boundaries a little bit, like challenge ourselves, to try new things and challenge our definitions of who we think we are and see what we can discover from that.
I tell kids all the time, like our learning doesn't end, right? It's not that, oh, you graduate high school and then you graduate college and then it ends. My view and our view is to continue to push that boundary of what else can I learn? And if we become super stagnant, then I think we don't live life as fully as we should. And so we have to continue to put ourselves in scary situations in terms of pushing our boundaries, right? Those kinds of scary situations, not like the super, super scary situations. We don't want those. But the pushing of the boundaries, I think is so important. And so that is a hope. That is a hope for our kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love talking to you because I always get energized from it. And I hope that families listening to this or students listening to this, are thinking like, that's the kind of environment I need to be in. Like, I need to get out of this rut, right? I need, I'm tired of conforming. I'm tired of people questioning why I'm doing what I'm doing. And, I hope those folks know now that Henry Ford Academy is that kind of environment where they can explore and they can stretch, they can take risks, they can express their identity, be who they're meant to be.
Be who they're meant to be or who they're comfortable being. We're not a perfect school. No school is. And I often tell parents, we may not be the school for your student, right? Like, so we're never going to have that like incredible team that's like the football games every Friday night, but our prom decorations are going to be amazing, right? Because so it's a trade-off. You know what I mean? It's a trade-off of what your kiddo is looking for. And what is the best fit for them. And we may not be the best fit for everybody, but we're a damn good fit for some.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you guys are like a refuge and an outlet and a staging ground for some really extraordinary things. I mean, I've seen some of the student art that comes out of Henry Ford Academy. It's amazing to see, people so young, expressing themselves so well and showing so much promise. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. They're really incredible. I continue to be super inspired by them every day. And so, they're really great kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I always like to close out with asking like the how-tos, like sort of the nuts and bolts, but do you have any like kind of closing thoughts that you want to share like before we get to the nuts and bolts?
Yeah, I think that if anybody's interested, I'm always happy to jump on a Zoom with somebody and to hear more. Again, this may be a good fit for the school, for your kiddo, and we're happy to talk more about that.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where like it's such an individual decision for each student and each family, But I feel like the role that I play and that SC Charter Moms plays is just making people aware that these options are out there, and that the barriers that they are worried about are not a barrier. Like,
absolutely, and I think it's one of the great things, the great service that you're providing to people is that it's making people aware. Because I think oftentimes as moms, as parents, as mothers and fathers, it's how do we handle our kids' education and what does that mean and what does that look like and how do and all our kids are so unique that what works for some may not work for another, and this is about exploring the right fit for your kiddo for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So if families are interested in learning more about Henry Ford Academy, they can go to the website. I put it here on the screen, but it's the alamedaschool.org is the website, and there's a link. They can click on it. They can fill out the application right there. And the deadline, the lottery is going to be in April, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And that depends on like how many kids enroll for each grade level and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then, and y'all are not doing in-person tours yet, but you're available to jump on Zoom and.
Happy to jump on a Zoom. I think as things continue to settle down and more people get vaccinated and, there's a lot more safety and health considerations that are being done and people are being really mindful about stuff, as things start to calm down, I think absolutely will be available this summer to give tours into the space and things like that, so they are able to see classrooms.
Yeah, isn't it nice to think that that's just around the corner?
It is really incredible. We were really, really lucky. We just got a message saying that we could vaccinate our teachers if they wanted to be vaccinated, and adults that live with them. I mean, it's those kinds of things that are, we just are so thankful for. I mean, I think I'm just, as a human, so thankful that this exists for us.
Yeah, I'm thankful to the scientists who are helping make us safer.
100%.
Yes.
150%. Yes. Thankful for the scientists. Yes, absolutely.
And I'm also thankful for the artists who are helping to keep me and my family sane.
And entertained, right?
Yes.
Like, you think it's hard to be anything, right? So it's like, the people that are putting all the movies on Netflix, and the ones that are doing that are writing stories and that are creating art. I mean, it's, we're all artists. We just have to find our medium, for sure.
That's exactly right. Okay. Well, Jessica, it's been a joy talking with you, and I'm just so proud to be sharing about Henry Ford Academy, and I'm looking forward to touring the campus and giving you a big hug next time I see you.
Yes, thank you, Inga. And I still will need a spirit shirt, so I will call you.
Yes, yeah. I've got some good ones around here. So.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right,
very nice talking to you.